Hello. I'm thinking like, so what's happening? Like, what am I going to talk about here? I guess I'll talk about like, I've been mentioning that people are cocksuckers, okay? I'm going to talk about that a bit. I'm going to talk about inspiration for drawing something a bit. I'm not going to tell you what, but just um, something more. Maybe censoring also. Um, yeah. So where do I start? Um, I guess maybe we'll start with a censoring, going to the cocksuckers and this. Okay. So there is censoring here in different ways. First of all, it is YouTube administrators, I usually say. They are doing their best to um, how do you say? Uh, yeah, they're doing their best. Like, let's show one like, let's show that many views. Let's selectively let some comments pop up selectively, right? And let's do things like that so that um, this guy doesn't get so much, um, how do you say, isn't energized too much from what he's doing. Okay, that's one censoring. The censoring to just blur, blur, that's kind of censoring. Then we have the censoring of the regular people that is here, that somehow somehow there is this lack of critical thinking, which means that I mean, in a way, like critical thinking can be like it can be a bit painful to have a critical thinking working properly. Because in my case here, when in what I do, critical thinking will suddenly like make the world more like some kind of wobbly um, matter that is just moves around. Critical thinking can lead to consequences that some don't want. Okay, so like in this world, the people that I have met have been heavily dependent on other people to create their opinion. If people don't create their opinion by looking at what other people think, well, maybe they admit that something happened here, or like some kind of, I paint something and like cutting the cord is a good example of a super clear painting. So I painted a network, and I cut into the painted network on April 24th, and then April 28th, the electricity broke in Spain, Portugal, and southern France. Blackout. And that is an excellent example of, first of all, people could look over their shoulder. First of all, when they look over their shoulder, they see an empty comment section because, if this was real, you would expect it to go viral. Like, you would expect it to spread, like what I do. And that's so weird. Like, for me also, it's like super gaslighting that it is like that. It is. That, yes, I painted the network and I cut the cord with an axe into the paint, and then the electricity broke afterwards, and somehow I am supposed to pretend that this is not going to go viral, what I did. You know? It's super gaslighting by some kind of collective unconscious of everyone. The culture. Yeah. And the result of this this gaslighting and this, um, you know, I start to realize, well, everyone are cocksuckers. That's so rational. It's so rational. If you are entirely unable to critically think, and even if the best of you, maybe see it, maybe you're actually able to see it, that yes, this happened, but then, you forget it because, like, you believe that you see magic every day when you don't. I mean, this is, yeah, that's what's happened. People, and what happens with a critical thinker? Well, it's not really a critical thinker. It's not really. It still looks over the shoulder and tries to figure out what other people thinks. Like, the most, how do you say, the most stoic logical person got over it. It's so weird. Like, it's like someone walking on water and no one reacts. It's basically what happened. It's basically similar to that. But that's the thing. People do react. They do react. So inside of people, I do believe that, like, people don't. Yeah, I don't know actually what's happening in the mind of people when it comes to this. I don't know. Anyhow, um, so yeah, that's censoring, cocksuckers. I really feel that. Yeah, I mean, this makes sense. I think it's really wrong to call someone, for example, you can't call someone fat because everyone deserves an identity. Like, you cannot have a negative label. So why not have an irrational label that isn't connected to your physical appearance? Like, an irrational label that doesn't really adequately, like, it doesn't really describe you, like, but deep down, you know that when I call this behavior like a bunch of cocksuckers. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. That's what's happening. And I believe that I'm reaching out when I say this. I'm reaching out to you, and you actually feel it a little bit. Oh, I'm a cocksucker, you know? People start to feel like that because, yes, you know? So, what's more? Should I talk about something more? Um, uh, I don't know. So YouTube censors me. Regular people, some kind of weird censoring also. I don't know how it works. It's like super gaslighting. And I censor myself also. I don't speak about things that are really important. I don't do that. So there is some kind of triple layer of censoring. I censor myself, YouTube censors me, and the listeners are somehow escaping this kind of conclusion. As I said earlier, what I'm doing here is um, so so groundbreaking that you it cannot even be described in any way. So when people have an image of someone, they want to they need to place someone in a category where you, yeah, that's hard to do because I'm doing something new that is basically like magic, you know. It's basically how is reality? Well, there is something hidden. There is something hidden in reality, like themes, like slow moving patterns, and I'm really good at that, you know. I am, and um, maybe maybe like scary good, you know, on those things because it I I drew it before it happens, you know. So there, I would wish for some realism here and the end of the gaslighting, but I don't know, you know, who knows. So we saw today, we saw for the last few days that the the flash flood in Texas, it became the worst in history. You could call it the worst in history because it was so many children that was affected by it. So, or I don't know to be honest, but it's supposedly the second deadliest in history, but maybe it's the worst in history. Um, Considering the type of damage. So these children were sleeping, and then came the flash flood on July 4th, on the Independence Day, you know? That's a bit funny. Sorry, but it is like it makes it's a powerful it's like powerful statement, you know, that Independence Day is like crushed, you know. Anyhow, so July 4th, on the morning, night time, something like that morning, the flash flood came and flushed away the children, basically. That's what happened. And during sleep, they were sleeping. And that's what I painted. I painted sleep less than 2 weeks earlier. Less than 2 weeks earlier. 1.5 weeks earlier, I painted sleep painting. There's been so many things to mention. Yeah. But there is a silence. There is a silence here, you know. It's like you could say that. Yeah, I don't know what to say. It's horrific. Okay, it's horrific. The censoring is horrific, and it is gaslighting. It is, and yeah. It's the people that are responsible for this is the kind of like some people are responsible for the censoring here, and those people are the kind of people, you know, I have a hard time seeing myself forgiving this kind of behavior, you know, personally. um, I find a very hard time seeing that I could ever do that, you know, because it's someone that entirely tries to go against, you know, and there's nothing good about this at all. So, yeah. So in the midst of this pretending that this is like people are like some kind of pretending that no, nothing is happening. There's nothing to see here, right? Some kind of pretending. Some people will live by that. They will fill that role of just pretending, and somehow it works. Like this is also like so if everything is connected, of course the interconnectivity is also um, defending itself by ignoring the facts, even when laid forth in this clear way. And even the most adept critical thinkers will find ways to forget, because there is nothing apparent that seems to be beneficial about what I'm doing. There's nothing that seems to, like, what I'm doing basically introduces new things that maybe no one wants, you know? And that means that even the most adept critical thinker will find ways to forget and to simply deny and ignore. I guess so, you know, because I mean, even if the front page news keep doing this, it just keeps popping up, you know, what I painted, it keeps popping up, you know, even if it keeps being like that. They must do their best to maintain some kind of um, yeah, I don't know what to say. Okay, maintain the status quo, you know, maintaining status quo. Even if, like, okay, if I'm able to paint this, status quo is long lost, you know, it is long disappeared because there is like something happened here a long time ago, and when I paint these things, I tell you, when I paint it, I tell you that, oh, it's going to happen now, you know. It's something that, yeah. So I think I'll end this video now. So it continues, you know, voila, you know, children flushed away in Texas while sleeping. Yeah. Front page news happened on July 4th. I hadn't looked into it, you know. So now it's July 8th. Yeah. And yeah, I hadn't looked into this, but yeah, as you can see, it is the same theme, sleeping. Flushed away while sleeping, you know. Yeah. And yeah, I'm finding some new inspiration, what to paint. And um, you, what needs to happen here is that the world needs to reach out to me and tell me in some kind of majority. Let me know that, okay, Christopher, we see what you do. That's amazing and horrific. Could we ask you to stop painting these things? Because I do believe that it's like the reason why I can predict things is because it is like strengthened. You have to imagine a guitar string resonating, and it becomes this resonance shaking in time, space. It's really how it is. Because yeah, at least I believe so. That, like, I have to imagine how this works a bit, and I think it works like that. Um, and so yeah, there has to be admitting what's happening. I'm going to, like, a few years ago, I wasn't this good at this as I am right now. Right now, I'm really good at this. I'm going to get better at this. I'm going to evolve and get even better, you know, and maybe learn something entirely new, you know. You know, you know what I mean? Like the similar stuff, but new. So it's just how it happens to be. I don't know what to say. No, I. Okay. So there has to be this some kind of majority asking me to stop. You know, please stop doing that. You know, we can see that you do it. We can see that it has an effect what you're doing. We can see that reality is not what it seems. We can see that there is a vulnerability in things. We see that. We know that, and we want you to stop that. And then, you know, and that would that I don't know what would happen from that, you know. What would happen from that? Who knows? Who knows? There is a chance that the person that you're talking to at that time, when you find the maturity to say something like that, the person that you talk to is not the same as I am right now, because I am evolving. I've been evolving for some time, and I cannot promise you that 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 I will feel the same way in the future. This is how I feel right now, and if I change and evolve, then maybe I'm different. I see things differently at that time. But so like I would imagine that, you know, when it comes to people that, for example, asks for forgiveness, they often do it too late. They do it when there is nothing, there is like no value in a forgiveness. I like to see it that forgiveness has value as long as there is unused strategies. Like imagine a person can keep messing with you instead of apologizing, with like five more different ways, you know, and it exhausts all the way of messing with you. And when it realizes that, oh, you didn't fall even though you used all these strategies, well, what's the value of an apology at that time? Well, the apology is just another strategy. It's not worth anything. It's worth zero. An apology requires two people, the person that did something and the person that is supposed to get over that. And both of these people must fulfill the right circumstances for an apology to be successful. You cannot exhaust all strategies. Okay, bye bye.